New initiatives to promote greater environmental sustainability throughout our industry. From the National Business Aviation Association, this is Flight Plan. I'm Rob Finfrock with your trusted source for business aviation news. Sustainability is a very important topic across our industry, and it's an area where we continue to make progress, including through the use of sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, to further reduce aircraft carbon emissions. More and more aviation managers are seeking guidance on how to adopt SAF and other sustainable practices across their flight operations, which is why earlier this year, NBAA announced the formation of its Sustainability Subcommittee to the NBAA Maintenance Committee to help drive these efforts and provide information on how flight operations can become more sustainable. Stuart DeLeon is NBAA's Director for Environmental and Technical Operations and was the driving force behind the creation of this subcommittee.
So I think there's a number of different reasons why we're seeing a more focused approach in environmental sustainability. Some of it is the organization's customers. Some of it is shareholders, naturally. Some of it is the employees within the organization this is more and more becoming a focus for them, and they'd like to see that within their organization as well. And so what we've seen is a really, really big interest in environmental sustainability. And that's really been the driving factor in creating this, as NBAA does with so many other things, bringing folks together, buyers and sellers, and those that need information and those that have information. And so I think the subcommittee is going to be instrumental in helping connect some of those dots, connect the folks that have the information with those that need the information to allow the flight departments and various organizations within business aviation to be a part of their overall organizational sustainable efforts.
I'm also pleased to welcome today subcommittee co-chairs Jessica McClintock and Brock Jordan. Brock is the chief pilot for Netflix, and Jessica is vice president for global accounts at FuelerLinks. Jessica, how do you envision this subcommittee assisting in sustainability efforts across our industry?
I believe it's education first, strategy second. You really can't accomplish anything without understanding the basic foundation, specifically the jargon related to environmental sustainability. And, these concepts and these terms introduce questions like, what does carbon emissions have to do with aviation? How do the different scopes vary? If you're listening and asking, what are these scopes, or why not just stop flying altogether, then you're probably the perfect candidate to listen in this conversation starter, and even more so to see what we're structuring as a subcommittee. It's really about empowering the committee members through education, broken down into these three areas of flight operations and then pairing ground and facilities together. So Brock and I are taking on addressing what questions we need to invest energy into to help support the transparency for the industry, with one goal following education and investing opportunities would be, to create a strategy or template toward company and department environmental goals that can be easily followed and guide others towards kind of a step-by-step process that can fit the business aviation community.
Brock, how do you see the Sustainability Subcommittee working with business aviation operations on these initiatives?
Along the same exact lines that Jessica said, our standard approach is to make sure that this is scalable, it's standardized, and in alignment with the accreditation program. What that'll allow us to do is disperse information and bring awareness to sustainability within our industry. Every flight department is going to be different. They're going to have different resources, corporate funding and backing. Their bandwidth is going to be completely different. So we need to educate on the front so that from the single aircraft owner, operator to a large corporate fleet can have a better understanding of how they can scale their approach for their future in sustainability.
And we'll discuss that accreditation program you noted a bit later in this podcast. But Brock, speaking of scaling that approach to sustainability, can you tell me about some of those efforts underway at your company and how those will help inform your work on the subcommittee?
For Netflix, by the end of 2022, we aim to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions. And sustainability means we're thinking about our future as a company, our future in aviation. And the primary goal of our department is to achieve, assist, and acknowledge and promote everything that we can to make sure that we're all taking those steps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, especially carbon dioxide, with a goal of achieving neutrality over time. And that's going to take an effort from not just Netflix, but every corporation, and it's going to take buy-in from all.
Jessica, how does sustainability impact your work at FuelerLinks?
We're kind of unique in that we're not a flight department, and we don't come across the same hurdles as a flight department or an operation may come across. However, we do work with many of these diverse flight operations, and like Netflix, our goal is to help others understand and create some sort of template behind their own sustainability goals. So with our unique opportunity of being a technology supporting flight operations, we are working on goals to expand the availability of purchasing SAF, knowing where those locations are, as well as producing options based off of book and claim or carbon offsets through our fuel purchasing platform. And that's really what we are striving on adding to the aviation community, is that awareness and transparency.
We'll have more in just a moment, including an update on another major NBAA sustainability initiative after this message from the association.
NBAA Flight Plan listeners, get ready. Business Aviation's biggest event is back and in person. Register today at nbaa.org/2021. We'll see you there.
We're back now with Jessica McClintock, Brock Jordan, and Stuart DeLeon, and our discussion about the recently launched NBAA Sustainability Subcommittee. Stuart, as Brock alluded to earlier, NBAA is also developing the Sustainable Flight Department Accreditation Program to further advance a sustainability culture in business aviation organizations. Please tell us about that program's aims and methodology and how it complements the Sustainability Subcommittee.
Yeah, absolutely. The subcommittee was really an opportunity to bring people together. But along with that, we wanted the opportunity to be able to acknowledge the efforts that so many of our members are already taking in this area. And so after sitting down and kind of reviewing it and seeing what we could do, we felt that an accreditation was the best way to do that. That being said, we also understand that there's a number of different organizations that are still getting started. And so when we started building this program, we developed kind of what we call our list of requirements. And the first thing that we wanted to make sure we did was offer recognition, as I just said. The second thing was create a pathway to sustainability. Third, we needed to make sure that there was a commitment to a meaningful change. And then fourth, we wanted to make sure that it was an attainable goal that you could achieve with the accreditation. And so with those four things, that's really what helped us develop the program, which Jessica and Brock both have kind of alluded to, those four areas, one in flight, one in operations, one in ground support, and one in infrastructure. And so the accreditation program will consist of four individual accreditations in those areas. And it does a couple of things for us. One, it gives us a place to start in all four of those areas for, as Jessica mentioned, a very diverse group that we have in business aviation, right? Yes, we have a lot of flight departments, but we have charter operations, we have vendors, we have OEMs, we have so many different types of organizations within our industry. We really needed to find a way to be able to acknowledge all of their efforts. And so by setting up the program with individual accreditations, an organization can apply for whichever mix of accreditations fit their organization or that they're capable of achieving at the moment. Some may want to start with just one and dip their toe in the water, to use that term, and then develop over time. Others might say, you know what, we have a very robust environmental sustainability program. We think we can achieve all four of these. And so they may go for all four at one time. So we think that the program is really going to allow our members to be able to highlight the efforts that they have, like I said, and then also create a pathway for those that might be just getting started and want to continue to move further. So we do think it's going to be a great product and something great for our industry.
Brock, your flight operation is among the select few participating in a pilot program that's testing out the accreditation framework. What can you tell us about that experience?
First, thanks Stuart and his team for all the hard work they've put into the program. Establishing it and early stages to where we're at now is really eye-opening to the commitment that the rest of the pilot program companies have also committed their time to. Ultimately, helping validate the leadership with the sustainable flight operations is the key goal there. We've been able to leverage and work with these other companies. By no means are any of us a single expert. Stuart's team has established a standardized trajectory of commitment for companies that hopefully will be the standard that we move forward with for years to come. We'll continue to improve on it as our industry improves. But with those key focus areas, we've had a lot of great discussions on how they should be brought together, how we can measure. I think that's going to be the biggest piece that for growing pains for any company is how do we measure and collect the data to show improvement in these 4 focus areas. And that has driven a lot of the conversation and will drive conversations from moving forward with the accreditation program.
You know, and having written about sustainability quite a bit over the past few years and from working on podcasts like this one, something that's really impressed me is our industry's eagerness to learn about this subject. No one is really an expert yet on sustainability. We're all learning and we're all sharing ideas. So Brock, if an aviation manager is listening to this right now and thinking about their own flight operations sustainability efforts, where do you recommend they start in helping to develop or bolster those programs?
There's some easy key factors that we can dive into, but the list is long. I think for most operations, if you're operating aircraft, SAF is the easiest one to lean into, but that comes with a higher price point. Also availability. So sourcing that might be difficult. Carbon offset programs would be something else that I would be leveraging and leaning into exploring. If the actual flight department isn't doing it itself, look at the corporation. Maybe your company is already making these efforts and that you're unaware of. As we also operate and lease facilities, own facilities, we also have waste and water reduction that we can leverage, as well as energy efficiency and usage coming from LEED approved buildings, Energy Star rated devices, energy solutions, and on how we source clean renewable energy, purchasing solar. I think that the best part of the accreditation program is it's a scaled approach. Not every department is going to be able to accomplish each and every one of these. I'll use Netflix as an example. Our ground support has all gone electric. Our tugs, electros, and GPUs have gone completely green. So it's going to be a creative approach, and it's going to take an effort and commitment by each operations manager in these 4 focus areas to create and move that needle forward.
Jessica, what would you like to add?
Brock, you've already done a great job breaking down all of the tangible factors, or at least a lot of the tangible factors. And Stuart, with your accreditation program that has been introduced with NBAA, it really provides a lot of these kind of moving pieces that we're all trying to attach ourselves to. One thing that I've noticed that is really helpful and impactful is that the structure allows for a company to not only apply for, one or more of the 4 areas of accreditation, but with that said, the reach becomes more attainable and thereby more impactful. And since the availability of SAF is being scattered and not really as consistently supplied, many of our committee members have shared how they've utilized a combination of these efforts to chip away at the hopeful net zero goals. And with those different combinations of utilizing SAF where possible, tankering through with that product, and then subsidizing when needed with the book and claim process or through carbon offsets. Fuel is not the only opportunity. It's a very common topic when addressing the aviation sustainability, simply because it is one of the larger operating costs. And this whole idea of combining multiple options instead of waiting for or depending on a single solution I believe will allow businesses to explore and attain their sustainability goals sooner. So I'm going to put it kind of generally here that you want to think proactively. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have doubts, which I know some people do out there, some organizations have been very vocal about their doubts. Well, utilize the resources NBAA and other entities make available. It's okay to speak up, and I'm really confident that it's worth it to really invest the time now into making tomorrow and tomorrow's future better for everybody.
Indeed. Stuart?
I think the comments by Jessica and Brock are spot on, but what I'll add to it is one of the great things coming into a topic that really not a lot of people have decades of experience in is that everyone comes to the table kind of on an even playing field. And so this is allowing us to bring together people from all generations, all career fields within business aviation to the table to be innovative and create new ideas and new initiatives to continue to move this topic forward. Rarely do we get that opportunity where everyone really has the opportunity to come to the table on an even playing field. And so I think that's a great advantage and a great aspect of environmental sustainability and what we're putting together here. But I would also say that we're always going to be learning. But what we're doing right now is we're pioneering in this area. This industry is able to initiate and create steps. And I think that's part of what we're doing with both the accreditation as well as the subcommittee. But we're creating things that make sense that can move forward not only business aviation, but environmental sustainability together in a smart way. We're a part of that movement forward, rather than sometimes, as happens, individuals or organizations outside of an industry make decisions for that industry. And so I think we have a great opportunity here to be pioneers in this field, to develop things that make sense to allow business aviation to flourish, but to do it in a responsible and smart way with environmental sustainability hand in hand. Again, this is a great opportunity for us. The subcommittee is going to be an integral part of the accreditation program as it moves forward and as it develops. We're not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. We have a great foundation with all of the information that we've received and the folks that have been working with us to develop it. We know that it's going to grow and develop over the years. And by creating those 4 separate accreditations, as new technologies, as new ideas, new innovations come to surface, we have a place to now put them. And we can allow organizations throughout our industry to then reach into that accreditation and say, okay, I've got this. I've now developed this. Let me achieve this accreditation. And we'll be able to highlight for the rest of transportation industry, for the rest of society, on how much business aviation is actually doing.
You'll be hearing more about the NBAA Sustainability Subcommittee in the coming months, as well as other efforts by the association and throughout our industry toward making business aviation more sustainable for all. That includes the Business Aviation Sustainability Summit, taking place Tuesday, October 12th at NBAA's Business Aviation Convention and Exhibition in Las Vegas. Learn more about the summit and the show at nbaa.org/base. And that's the latest from the National Business Aviation Association. Remember, you can subscribe to all Flight Plan episodes at Apple Podcasts in the App Store, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including by asking Alexa or another connected device, or download them from nbaa.org. I'm Rob Finfrock. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for a new episode of Flight Plan.